Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll be exploring the statistics reflecting singleness in the United States and how this is contributing to the decline of our civilization. We'll also delve into a woman's story of divorcing her husband, seemingly everything going wrong for her. We want to invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your 2 cents to the movement. Leave your experiences in the comments for any man who might need it. Without further ado, let's get started.
Surprise! The number of young single men in America is at a record high. This is why. According to Pew Research data that was released this week, a staggering 63% of men in their 20s are single, which is almost double that of women. Lonely men out there? Let's break down these numbers. Scholars say that women don't want to marry down, whereas in the past, men played a more significant, dominant role in relationships. Women are now taking home 60% of all bachelor's degrees. And even though men still earn more money than women, that wage gap is slowly closing. It's now sitting at $43 a week. And that empowerment of young women is removing young men from the relationship equation. So then who are these young women dating? Some are dating and marrying slightly older men, which has been a thing for centuries. And others are more openly dating each other. But there's more to it than just changing social dynamics. Women are also tired of dating emotionally unavailable and distant men, which is a larger issue in male relationships in general. Research shows that more men than women are friendless and lonely, and only half of single men are even looking for a committed relationship or even going on casual dates. They just want friends. And the social disconnect actually has really tragic consequences. Like the young male unalive rate is 4 times that of women. And all this research compounds with a 2021 Gallup poll, which found that American men are experiencing a friendship recession, with nearly 1 in 6 American men reporting not having a single close friend. Female empowerment is one thing, but if relationships and friendships are both falling for men, where does that leave us in the future?
It leaves us in a world headed towards chaos. This lady is partly right, but she forgets to mention that there are 5 or 8% more women than men. Even with record numbers of single men, there must be more single women. Another thing is that women also get involved with married men or steal husbands. But this doesn't make it clear that a man who improves himself can date a younger woman, because many of them say they date older men, but they're just looking for a provider. Many women also climb the corporate ladder, but you guys believe the story that they all succeed. If they were successful, they wouldn't complain about a non-existent gender pay gap. By 2030, over 45% of women will be single. I can say she's right about many men being without friends. This is worrying. That's why I recommend men never to leave their group of friends. It's always good to keep your group close even when you're married. Also, if you don't have friends, go to activities where you can meet more people, like the gym. Most men at the gym won't have a problem greeting you. That's how good we are. But don't isolate yourself. Don't stay alone. Go out, do some activities, whether it's courses or outdoor sports.
I can't switch the fact that we're only attracted to 20% of men. Okay, I can't change that. I can't change the fact that half of women by 2030, this is 6 years away, half of women are going to be single and childless. This was a study done by bankers, not people that have a political agenda. So if you're married, women are going to be fighting for whoever you got. They're going to be, and the women already do that. Women want to be, I always say that if we banned side chicks, if we made it illegal or something, the first people that would complain are women. There are women that go to NBA games trying to get men to cheat on their wives. This is, if you have a guy that other women like, that's just what it's going to be. And, I didn't make that world. This was the fault of our grandmothers and great-grandmothers. I didn't do it.
Whoop! Pearly Thing said that. Not me. But not me though. Pearly Thing said it. She said, make it illegal to have a side chick and everybody gonna be they gonna be fighting for this 20%. I ain't 20%. I'm up in the more like 0.0000. All right, Pearly Things. You gone, girl.
The worst enemy of a woman is another woman. The majority of women want men who are well off, in that top 20%, who have good physical appearance, earn six figures, stand around 6 feet tall, and to top it off, be handsome. But with the economy, they settle. But the problem is, there aren't that many men like that. They're a small minority. Not all women can access them. It's true that women fight over these men. You just have to look at the restaurants near business areas or business offices where it's packed with women trying to get an opportunity. Some women even study high-level careers just to meet a guy like this. That's why a woman who has a high-value man turns a blind eye, even when he's unfaithful. But what about the men who aren't in that top 20%? This means the average man. The reality is, it takes more effort for him to get a beautiful woman, or settle for a less attractive woman, because most women only want to wait at the finish line for the winner. That's why we see so many single women hitting crisis at 30 when they hit the wall, because instead of betting on a man's potential, they keep looking for a winner. But they forget the fact that every year, there's a younger and more beautiful woman coming of age to get married. If you doubt it, ask Leonardo DiCaprio, who always discards them by age 25.
You are a single mom and a teacher in the state of Mississippi. Like, how are you economically surviving? Because the math ain't mathin'. So my last day as a sped teacher in the state of Mississippi was in March of 2021. At the time, I'd been teaching for like 8 years, and I just had like a standard teaching license, no master's degree or anything like that. But after 8 years of experience, I was bringing in like mid-40s, 45, 46K a year. And I was married, so I was living in a 2-income household. And I was not the financial head of my household. My money would go into our joint bank account, and my husband at the time took care of all the bills. Now, back in 2021, when I was going through my divorce, I knew I could not afford to be a teacher and be a single mom, which is what initially motivated me to leave the profession. Fast forward to today, 2023, I work in corporate America, and my salary hasn't doubled, but I'm currently now making a salary that in 2021 was only achievable in the state of Mississippi if I had gone back to school, got my master's degree, and somehow got hired on as a principal and probably worked for a few more years. Today in 2023, between my house note, my car note, all my bills, and getting child support, I'm making it, but I ain't thriving. I do not drive a fancy car. I don't live in a fancy house. And I really don't go and do much of anything. Now, I have taken on every single bill by myself, and I'm adulting a little bit harder, not much. But I just had to buy a new hot water heater that my dad replaced. I didn't even pay anyone to replace it. And I'm stretched. Like, Christmas is going to be low-key this year. But if I was still a classroom teacher right now in the state of Mississippi, and a single mom, in an economy where my mortgage is like $600 cheaper than rent is in the neighborhood that I live in, and there happened to be a month that I did not receive my child support, I'd be in a tight spot. And that's with me making what a principal was making in the state of Mississippi 2 years ago. So, like, how are y'all doing it? I literally only dreamed to be making what I'm making now. And in 2023, that dream is just survival. So how are you affording to be a single mother and a teacher in the state of Mississippi? It's a very serious question. Like, how can you afford to stay in that career? Because had I stayed in that career, I wouldn't be living in this house. I'd be living with my mom and dad. I'd be driving a very unsafe and unreliable vehicle, and there would still be no extra. There would be literally nothing left over. And if you don't get child support, like, how many jobs are you working? I knew that 2 years ago, teaching was not a sustainable career for me. And with inflation, you ladies must be like magicians or something. I don't understand. And I hate that I'm even having to have this conversation. Because being a teacher made me who I am today and has allowed me to advance as far as I've gone today. I'm a better person because I was a teacher. I'm a better mother, human, worker, everything. But I couldn't afford to stay. And it's just wild to me, y'all.
Then they say they can't pursue their career dreams when married. Look at this woman. Her first mistake was choosing a career that didn't pay well. But since it was a dream funded by her husband's pocket, what could go wrong? Of course, until she got empowered, believed she didn't need her husband, and divorced the man who was the breadwinner. Even though she worked, she didn't contribute anything. Luckily, as she puts it, she had child support from the man, which, as she says, goes more into her pocket than to the children. This video is a clear example of what I'm saying, that women make decisions based on emotion, not rationally. This woman probably initiated the divorce, never thought about what her standard of living would be like. She probably imagined taking everything from the man, even his house. But it seems it backfired on her. You know, brothers, she got empowered. They're so selfish that they destroy their families, yet they still want to keep the kids to make everyone suffer because, of course, they wouldn't receive that child support if they were single. If they lose custody, they don't get that money. On the contrary, they'd have to pay. That's unacceptable for a woman. But karma is wonderful. Now she values everything she did for her husband because she sees her money doesn't stretch, that she can't buy anything with her salary. She has to call her old father to do the things her husband should do because, as I said, she doesn't make decisions rationally. That's how they end up.
In case anyone has ever wondered what it's like to be a single female in LA, I was just grocery shopping at Whole Foods, and I was just invited to join a gentleman. I'm in my sweats, by the way, just like what you see, like sweats, pants, whatever. I was invited to join a gentleman in the bathroom for a very good time in the middle of my grocery shopping. And, he did have the respect to ask if I was single. That was nice. And, was I just supposed to leave my basket there? Just chill here next to the fresh baked cookies while I just go to the bathroom real quick and get it on with this stranger that just randomly approached me. Do I look that desperate so that, do I look like I am oh, poor me, I'm single and alone and I don't know. I'm just reflecting right now and taking it all in. And this is my neighborhood Whole Foods. So, maybe he's my soulmate. I don't know.
Opportunities that life brings you in mysterious ways. This woman needs to check herself because it seems like that man must have thought she needed a quickie. Her embarrassed face gave it away that she hasn't done anything for a long time. Honestly, this story seems like a lie to me, but it's funny. At least she should be glad that someone approached her even though she's hitting the wall. If it was true, which I doubt, she's very happy that someone likes her. I don't see any dislike or anger on her face, or am I mistaken? But let me know what you think.
So one of the most common questions that you get on a dating app is, how long have you been single or divorced? I'm neither one of those things. So my answer to that is, I'm widowed. I had a 25-year marriage and lost my husband last spring. My loss didn't break me. It taught me that life is too short. I've been spending my time creating a new life filled with joy, looking for a man to share the next season of my life with. And I get different responses to that. A lot of times it ends the conversation. A lot of times I get, that's so sad. I'm so sorry. Which is okay. And then every once in a great while, I get a good response. And if I get a good response, those are really the people that I continue to chat with. So, over the weekend, I got a good response. The guy said to me, it looks like you really cherish life and I admire that you're such a strong woman. That was a good response. Later on, yesterday evening, I was on a phone call with that same guy. And I said, sometimes men are really freaked out that I'm a widow. And he said, no, Sherry, he said, they're not freaked out because you're a widow. They're freaked out because it's rare that you find somebody that's been in a 25-year relationship. You obviously have some pretty high standards, and they're not confident in themselves and intimidated that they won't be able to live up to your standards. Wasn't that food for thought? So, my friends, especially my widow and widowers, what do you think about that? Cut out for this shit.
My personal opinion is if you know a woman who is a widow or a man, especially if they stayed faithful to that person they once loved until the end, it's a green flag for me. It wasn't a woman without values who broke her vows. Sometimes things just happen. She didn't betray her man. As a man, I believe both men and women have the right to move on with their lives. So, in my opinion, a man can date a woman like that because she's a woman who can turn out well, and we know she's loyal. The problem is she's looking for love on dating apps. I should say dating apps. For older women, it's a nightmare, especially if they're not very attractive. Many people are just looking for something casual. But let me know if you would date a widow. If you have a faithful woman and she dies, would it bother you if she moved on with her life? We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about men being single? Why do you think there are so many single women? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.